Hi there, welcome. It's always a special night when Jeff Gordon comes to the show. Welcome back.
Thank you, Dave.
It's a lot more fun when things other than what happened today at Talladega happen. But
oh no, not the way I look at it. Even though it didn't go well for me, we had let's see, 2 big ones.
Yeah.
We had at least 1 red flag and controversy to the finish. It doesn't get any better.
It was
than
great TV, right?
Great to be on the show.
Who better to ask than the guy who was in the race and the victim of a wreck that was caused by a blown tire? One of the big stories is the tires. What is the story with the tires?
You know, I'm curious myself. We saw it happen in the ARCA race with Hoosier. Had a lot of trouble with tires. And then we saw it again today. So I'm not really sure. I really want to get to the bottom of it, find out, if Goodyear has any idea if they saw rubs, or of any kind. But it was pretty strange to see what happened. I know with Junior, I mean, it was just out of nowhere. And when they explode like that, there's usually something else going on.
So all of you Goodyear flamers are going to have to wait a couple of days to find out what happened. Later on, we're going to be talking about motocross with the sports big hero James Stewart. His long-rumored team switch is reality. Robin Miller, your old buddy, reporting on the Helio Castroneves tax evasion indictment. And there is so much more going on out there in the big-time world of motorsports. For example, how about the Formula One guy, Lewis Hamilton's deal, in which he got $15 million worth of beachfront property in Grenada in return for the use of his name and image, under investigation by the government there. And then there is, well, actual racing, or at least plate racing. Carl Edwards turned Greg Biffle, triggering the second of the aforementioned 2 big ones. Chasers Earnhardt, Kenseth, Harvick, and Busch also involved with 4 or 5 others. Run to the finish was big. Tony Stewart in yellow this time leading. Regan Smith goes below the yellow line. Regan says Tony forced him below the yellow line. NASCAR says, that's right, the pass was not legitimate. Tony gets his first win in 43 starts. On to ARCA. No mojo here. Again, as mentioned, last week's guest Ricky Carmichael among those who blew right rears on Friday. Ditto the title contenders Ricky Stenhouse and Scott Speed. Penske development driver Justin Allgaier passing Joey Logano with no help on the last lap to win. And in yesterday's truck race, Todd Bodine loosened Kyle Busch up just enough on the last lap to pass him with a big push from Ron Hornaday, who thus took the point lead from Johnny Benson. And one more, Cole Witt, one of the kids we discussed last week with talent scout Bones Boursier, won the Hut 100 last night. It is one of the year's biggest midget races on dirt. My guest won that race 18 years ago, 1990. We'll get back to midgets and sprints. We're going to get to Petit Le Mans. I want to talk more about Talladega. Tell you what, I'm going to hold off on that. I think we'll just make that question of the week, and we'll probably have time for that later in the show. You don't care. Let's go to the phones. I've got David on the line from Marion, New York. David, you're on with Jeff Gordon. What do you have to say tonight?
Yeah, Dave, this is just the worst NASCAR judgment call ever with Regan Smith. He clearly won that race. Tony forced him below the line. You just can't argue that. And I'm Regan's biggest fan, and this is just the worst.
You are Regan's biggest fan, so this may not be an objective opinion. I don't know how objective Jeff Gordon is, but let me have you take a crack at that.
Well, I will say that I would not have wanted to been in NASCAR's shoes on this one because, there are some questions about this one. I mean, yes, Tony moved down to block him. Tony did force him below the yellow line, but it was a real judgment call, in my opinion. And I think that NASCAR is pretty consistent in leaning this direction. It doesn't surprise me that they penalized Regan, and it's not because it's Tony Stewart. I think that he had the opportunity to be able to back off and get back in behind him.
Or hit him.
Or hit him. And I've learned in my lesson from this yellow line rule that you do not go beneath the yellow line. Even if that guy forces you, you don't do it. You stop at the yellow line with the steering wheel. It's pretty easy. You just hold the steering wheel straight when you get that yellow line. If that guy comes across your nose and spins, it was his fault.
Which happened with you and Harvick.
It happened with me and Harvick, one time. And I've seen it happen several times. And the guys that know or have been through this experience, they know. And so a little bit of inexperience on Regan's part. I hate it for Regan because he made a great move.
Yep.
And he probably did deserve to win the race.
Yep.
But that's kind of the nature of the business with Talladega and restrictor plate racing.
So the advice from Jeff Gordon is, kids, when you get to that yellow line.
And I would bet Tony Stewart would probably agree with me. Even, he won the race today, he'll agree with me. But I would say that he probably would agree with me even if he had spun through the grass.
I remember that you're the reason that they have the rule about going below the yellow line, because at the Daytona 500, you went almost to the lake trying to pass.
It's probably,
Rusty, was it?
Yeah, Rusty and maybe Skinner. I can't remember who all we were battling with, but probably a good reason to have the yellow line. But it makes for a lot of controversy.
We're going to take a break. Let's see. What else we got tonight on the show? Well, we've got, I don't know. We don't have the video. That's what we know. What on earth has happened to this guy's racing fortunes? That's one thing. We've also got Robin Miller, as mentioned, on the Helio Castroneves deal. And we've got James Stewart about switching teams. So let's take a commercial break. Come back on the other side with much more with Jeff and all the rest. Don't go anywhere.
Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain is brought to you by Suzuki Automotive. Live large, drive small.
As the ultimate Texas Motor Speedway fan, I'm here to tell you reasons why you can't miss the Dickies 500. Reason number 88, Junior Nation.
She's fast, she's mean, reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys!
What more reason do you need?
Get your tickets to the Dickies 500. Call 888-816-8671 or visit TexasMotorspeedway.com.
I'm not going to let you off the hook.
That's a good thing and a bad thing.
You're just a bunch of yahoos.
Whoa.
Are you going to do Kelly and Regis like every month for the rest of your life?
Kelly is really hot.
Forget that. We're gonna move on. What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
You tell me.
You're kind of a dork.
The only thing that was missing was the mustache and the mullet.
Okay, let's move on.
Big crybaby tattletale.
Dave, this is why I love your show.
Whoa, whoa! You bring out all the good callers.
I can only imagine what you have in store for me. I did say that. You're right.
You there, Jim? Hello, Jim. If you're doing a phone-in show, Jeff, and the phones don't work, you better have some damn good questions.
I've been set up. Thank you.
He comes here every year. Every year we have a lot of fun. Every year we try to do something a little special for you.
And I'm nervous. I'm scared right now.
We have at least one of those. But later, right now, what we have is email. And the first one says, Jeff, something has to be done to get you up to Jimmy's level. If you don't win the chase, will you consider making some drastic changes to the team for next year? Darren Davis out in Washington wants to know. The flip side, of course, is what drastic changes you made after last season to go from winning 6 races last year to not winning any this year.
I mean, there was a few changes that were made. You know, our car chief, Jeff Meandern, went to be the crew chief over at the 43 car. I mean, I think that we're going to certainly analyze the entire team and see where we feel like our weaknesses are and try to make them stronger. I think engineering is the biggest thing that's happening right now in our sport, and anything we can do to beef up the team and the organization with engineering, I think, is a positive thing. I can tell you it's not going to be Steve Letarte. That's not going to be a change. He's a great crew chief. He and we click very well, and he's taking a lot of heat, and that's not one of the changes that's going to be made.
He's the only guy who gets more hate mail than Tony Uri Jr. We're going to talk.
That's why they're really good buddies too.
We're going to talk about your new teammate Dale Jr. in due time. Tell me about your former teammate. How much of Kyle Busch's success this year is down to Toyota, and how much of it is down to him just wanting to show you Hendrick guys what's what, and how much of it is whatever?
Well, I think he's just a talented young driver. That's what I think it is. He's very aggressive, and when he pushes that car as hard as he does every week and it sticks, he's going to go fast, and if he doesn't hit things, he's going to probably win. And so, I think...
But that didn't change from you. I mean, he did more in the first half of this year than he did the whole time with Hendrick.
He hit a lot more stuff, though, last year. He had some pretty fast runs, pretty fast cars. We learned a lot from he and Alan over there at the 5 car when they were running so well. I think that you got to give Gibbs and Toyota a lot of credit for the type of team that they put underneath him. But he's a talented race car driver, and this guy runs on the edge all the time. And if you can find a way to keep that within the walls, you're going to have a lot of success.
I saw you do that for quite a while in the open wheel cars, up on 2 wheels, passing
yeah,
people.
but you're
stuff
supposed
like
to slide those cars sideways.
My question is, I mean, isn't that something everybody goes through, and you reach a point where you realize that's not always the most productive? And has he reached that point?
Well,
I mean, where you turn that into
I mean, we've obviously
consistency.
seen him, grow tremendously this year, and I think that's only going to, he's only going to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's only going to get better, and so the team's got to stay within check of his talent. If they do, and they've had some terrible luck since the chase has started, and they've had some not so good runs, which are a little surprising to me. But I think they're always a threat.
Popular talking head theory the last couple of weeks, repeated in this email by one of the tunnel heads. Pop it up there. It says, Dave, Kansas, Dover, and New Hampshire were some of the best finishes ever, calling back memories of Pearson, Petty, the Allisons, Yarborough, and other greats. As for the COT, I'm done debating it. NASCAR gets an A+ for competition. Dave Anderson. Does Anderson have it right? Has this car come of age? And what changes, if any, do you expect NASCAR to make in the offseason?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I know they've talked about some testing to look at a few things. Not really sure where they're going with that. Maybe a little bit more travel in the front of the car. We're on these bump stops, and we're very limited with our tools of what we can do to adjust the car. But I will say the teams have done a great job of, really come a long way in progressing with the car and those tools. I mean, the car is perfect for Talladega and Daytona. I think it needs some work still at some of the other tracks. But if we're talking about pure competition, no doubt about it. The biggest thing that they did was they now have an inspection grid that doesn't allow us to twist and turn the bodies of the cars and go, hire the best body guys out there on the planet, spend a lot of money there, twist and turn them. They could have done that with the old car, and it would have fixed a lot of the competition. Yeah. And so that aspect of it, definitely they've nailed it.
I've got one more before the break. By the rules under which Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty each won 7 championships, Jeff Gordon has won 6. Therefore, NASCAR has cheated Jeff out of 2 championships. Chuck
I
Anderson.
agree. Who is this? Yeah,
Chuck Anderson. I don't know if he's related to Dave Anderson. You agree?
Well, no, I just wish they'd come along with the chase a little later. I love the chase format. I think it's spectacular for everybody, the competitors, the fans, the media, sponsors. I think it's a great format, and it allows us to be along the same lines as other major sports by having sort of a playoff system. It just unfortunately came, a little bit too early for me.
How many points back were you when they reset the points this year? So it doesn't always work.
And I agree. This year it's definitely working for me. Not so far exactly, but up until today, it was working for me. And we still have a chance at getting further up in the points than what we would have been. So that's why I like it. I like it on both aspects. And woulda, coulda, shouldas on those other years. Hey, we should have won the championship last year under the new format, in my opinion. I mean, we had the team and the car and everything to do it.
He's consistent. He likes it, whether it's helping him or hurting him. Give him credit for that. We need a commercial break. A quick reminder to join Steve Burns, Michael Waltrip, Greg Biffle tomorrow night, This Week in NASCAR. Recapping Talladega, of course. Mikey made the highlight reel repeatedly. They'll preview Charlotte. Here's what matters. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the 88 team are the focus of this week's Chase Profile. Does it get any better? This Week in NASCAR tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, only on Speed. Colin Heat, good mojo. Corvette won maybe it was Green Mojo. They won the Green Challenge at the ALMS Petit Le Mans Road Atlanta, also clinched the GT1 title. But the big story, Alan McNish. You would think after this crash on the warm-up that his hopes were toast, but he came back from 2 laps down. Got both of those back with some pit strategy, and then just Banshee drove the thing to the front. In the dark, in traffic, he blew by the wicked fast Peugeot of Christian Clean for the pass that won the race. McNish wins with a brilliant drive, so why are we showing you the P2 victory celebration? That's because Helio Castroneves won shortly after being indicted on tax evasion charges.
I am not guilty. Thank you. What are you talking about?
And that's what he had to say about that. I want to know what Robin Miller has to say about this. This T-shirt was prominent at Road Atlanta. It says Miller Despain 08, telling it like it is. Jeff pointed out to me, I hadn't noticed that Robin Miller's name is at the top of the ticket. Robin, you'll be hearing from my lawyers about that. Speaking of lawyers, you've been talking to a few for the last couple of days. Helio obviously is innocent until proven guilty. What's the impact of this indictment on his racing future?
Well, I mean, first of all, Dave, he can't go to Australia because it took away his passport. So Penske's got to find somebody to run there. Paul Tracy, A.J. Allmendinger, Sam Hornish probably would be a potential, but he's going to be racing. So that's the immediate thing. What about next year? I asked Jim Voiles, who defended Bill Simpson against NASCAR, and he's probably the best criminal attorney in Indianapolis. When's this thing going to happen? He says it'll probably take at least a year, unless Helio would go for the speedy trial request, then they'd have to do it within 70 days. What is Penske? I mean, Penske's the most PR-conscious man in the history of motorsports. He started PR in motorsports, basically. This has got to be a tough thing to deal with, and I think from Penske's perspective, he didn't give a ringing endorsement that he said basically we're going to let this thing play out. But I think his real concern is if Helio can't leave the United States, there's 4 races outside the United States next year, at least 3 for sure. You put somebody in there full time. Does he keep his ride? Does he? I mean, it's just such a can of worms, and right now there's a hell of a lot more questions than there are answers, even from guys that are really smart.
What about this notion that Helio, because he is a celebrity beyond just racing, Dancing with the Stars, all the rest of that, is an easy target for an ambitious prosecutor? Some would-be legal experts are tossing that idea out. Any opinion?
I talked to an old buddy of mine he retired from the Miami Department of Justice, and he used to chase the cocaine cowboys back in the 80s, and it was all the offshore money and the laundering and things like that. And he said, first of all, to get an indictment like this, you have to gather the evidence, and then you have to present it to Washington to the Attorney General's office for review. When the Attorney General looks at all the evidence and he thinks it's merited, then he goes ahead and gives it the okay, because they're going to spend millions of dollars to prosecute and to take this thing to whatever level it gets to. So no, this is a very serious deal with 3 of the biggest people in the IRS and an tax invasion Privacy Act or whatever it's called. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of big shots involved in this thing, and it's one of the most serious things you can be charged with.
All right, Robin, if Court TV calls, we'll be sure and give him your number. Thanks a lot for that. Also indicted in this deal is attorney Alan Miller. He has a long list of clients, including Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy says of Miller, and this is a quote, "With everything I've done with Alan, he's represented my thoughts and me as a driver as though he were a parent of some sort. He's really done a phenomenal job for me," unquote. Miller told me today that he is innocent, that he has absolutely, that this has absolutely no effect on his other clients, and he wonders if the government is hoping to pressure him into saying something about Helio, which he says will not happen. He also said, Jeff, that he is unhappy with your reaction at Talladega, which was that drivers shouldn't have agents because they get you in trouble. He says he's not an agent.
And that's why I wasn't pointing any fingers at Alan. I mean, I know Alan very well, and I'm a big fan of Alan's. I mean, he's always been straightforward. He does a lot of negotiations for Jimmy, Chad, Casey, Mears, and several other drivers. And I mean, he's always been up and up with us. So I'm a fan of Alan's. I think he. I don't think that he's involved with this, but, I know that Helio is a big client of his, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
How does a superstar driver stay out of trouble? You say that drivers shouldn't have agents. You can't review every clause in every contract yourself. I suspect you don't fill out your own tax return. How do you avoid this kind of thing? Well,
when I say drivers shouldn't have agents, I mean, you got to have a representative, and somebody, working your side of it. But I think what's happened is a lot of the agents now, they're getting a big percentage of the drivers' money. I think that sometimes the drivers are putting too much faith in them and not dealing with the business aspect of it on their own one-on-one. How do you stay out of trouble? You do everything within the law. I mean, you're making a lot of money. There's a lot of money that goes to the IRS when you're making that kind of money, and it's hard to write that check. It's a big, big check, and it hurts. And so, but you just got to suck it up and go with it.
Take 5 minutes. I want to talk to another guy who's making a lot of money with his new deal, and then come back prepared to take tough questions and perhaps a surprise or two. Yes, we have a lot more with Jeff Gordon, including any questions you might have. 866-W-Tunnel if you want to talk to Jeff. But after the break, AMA Motocross and Supercross champ James Stewart on his move. We'll talk about that next.
To understand the true nature of speed, to truly appreciate the intensity of steel merging with strategy at 190 miles an hour, to feel the adrenaline as 500 miles comes down to 2 cars side by side with 1 lap to go. The best place to be is right in the middle. At Atlanta Motor Speedway, where the fast go faster.
James Stewart is the fastest guy in AMA Supercross and Motocross, hands down, when he's healthy. This year, while James was sidelined by injury, Chad Reed took the AMA Supercross title and then announced he's switching teams. So what happens? Well, Stewart comes back and dominates the Outdoor National Championship. Perfect season, 24 motos, 24 wins. And then announced on Friday, he's switching teams. He's taking Reed's old ride on the Team L&M Yamaha. Tonight, it is a pleasure to welcome James back to Wind Tunnel to answer the obvious question. James, why do this? You've been with Kawasaki your whole career. Why switch to the L&M Yamaha team?
Well, like anything, Dave, like it's just time for a change. And, you know, the opportunity came up with Samuel Yamaha and just wanted to change. And to be honest with you, I never even got an offer from Kawasaki, so there was never to stay over there. So, you know, I'm happy about the change. You know, it's my second day on the bike and everything's going good, so it should be a great season.
Why would Kawasaki not make you an offer? Does this perhaps have something to do with your planned schedule for next year? Are you going to do the Outdoor Nationals, or is this a Supercross-only deal?
Well, no, obviously we are racing the Supercross, but I'm thinking about going over to race some GPs and some other events like the X Games events, and you know, do some different things. And I can't tell you why Kawasaki didn't offer an offer, but it's been good. You know, I'm excited. I think everything's a blessing in disguise, and it gives me an opportunity to do some different things.
So does that mean you will not do the Nationals? Has that been determined?
No, actually, I'm still going to race some of the Nationals and stuff. We're not sure if we're going to race the whole season or whatnot, and it just depends how Supercross season goes, and, you know, give it an opportunity to get back to the fans. You know, I feel like just coming off our Motocross of Nations win for Team USA, I want to go over there and race a couple of GPs and race overseas a little bit, and, you know, with this opportunity with Samuel, you know, they're a Supercross-only team and stuff, so I think it'd be good to go spread my wings and try something different.
So their sponsorship is extended for 2 years, same as your deal, as I understand it. But I also understand that James Stewart is a big sponsor of this team. You're your own sponsor. How does that work? What does that mean?
Well, James Stewart Entertainment is a company of mine, and it's one of those things where, you know, I just want to try something different. You know, I wanted to sponsor the team, and, you know, I want to try to do some schools and just, you know, see where it goes. I think, you know, I have the opportunity to do something with the guys that let me be a part of the team, and, you know, I just think it's going to open a bunch of avenues for me and, you know, do something different and, you know, see where it goes. You know, I don't know if it's going to squander out in a couple years or not, but it'd just be fun to try it out and, you know, see what happens.
One more about the nature of the deal, energy drinks. You had a personal sponsorship with Red Bull. At the time, Kawasaki sold sponsorship of all of its factory teams to Monster in America. What role does Red Bull play in the new deal, and how much of a factor was that, if any, in your decision?
Well, you know, I think coming to Yamaha, you know, it wasn't the Red Bull sponsorship was definitely one of the things I wanted to do. I came to Samuel just because I wanted to, you know, and, you know, like I said, you know, the things that happened with Kawasaki and stuff, it was time for a change, and Red Bull definitely jumped on board. And, you know, obviously, like, you know, Dave, it's been a sponsor of mine for a while, you know, with the 05 and 06, and just one of those things. They're always treating me good, and they feel like they give me opportunities that some companies don't do it, and they're a lot lenient and stuff. And I think with the whole Red Bull and Yamaha and Samuel, I just thought it was a perfect combo for me.
You get the same stuff as the factory Yamaha team? How does the bike deal work?
Yeah, we get all the same stuff. You know, we're a factory team, but it's weird because, you know, you classify us as a privateer team. So, you know, it's a little weird for me, but we're pretty much factory. We get all the same stuff as Yamaha and everybody, and it's just, it's cool. You know, our team's a little bit more laid back and a little bit more outgoing and stuff. And, you know, these guys come to work and they want to win, and our whole team is about winning, and I think it's good.
Some guy just walked in. I don't know who this is. He wants to ask you a question, James.
Hey, James. Jeff Gordon here, big fan of yours. Really love to watch you tearing it up. You mentioned doing something different. What about NASCAR? I know that rumor is always out there about you possibly doing something in NASCAR.
Well, Jeff, it's an honor to be talking to you, man. You know, it's one of those things. I don't know if I can hold up to y'all guys' level. you guys would probably go out there and spin me out or crush me out there. But it's always been something.
Ricky's doing all right. He's hanging in there, but it's a long road. But I don't know. I think you can do it. You got a lot of talent.
Oh, I appreciate that. No, it'd be fun. You know, I kind of wanted to throw my wings in it, and, you know, we might do some stuff coming up in Daytona Rolex Series and stuff, and, you know, we'll see what it's about. But, nah, I mean, dude, to be out there with you would be an honor, man.
James, good luck with the new deal. As always, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming to Wind Tunnel tonight.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, we're going to take a break, and up next, we'll talk to Jeff Gordon about his Hendrick teammates and show you the inspiration for the 09 paint job on the 24 a little later. Stick around. We'll be right back. Jeff Gordon, a special guest tonight on Wind Tunnel.
Not bad. Checkmate.
Yeah, baby! Live it at Checker O'Reilly Auto Parts 500. It's 4 days of high-octane racing, concerts, and camaraderie as the semifinal race and the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup roars into Phoenix International Raceway, November 6th through 9th. Be a part of it all.
Welcome back, Wind Tunnel with Jeff Gordon. I want to take a moment to thank the Wind Tunnel staff. I call them the kids. They work behind the scenes every week to make me look good. They're smart, they know about racing, they care about racing, and they reviewed the tape of your 2006 appearance here on Wind Tunnel, in which I suggested that I would take a kind-hearted approach to selecting emails for you, and you said...
Don't get the kind-hearted ones, Dave. That's not why I come on this show.
Well... Jeff,
there we go again. I should have never said that.
The kids took that as a challenge.
Well, I agree, and I stand by what I said.
Well, that's a good thing, because look what they've come up with here.
The completely anonymous people on the Wind Tunnel staff who have never driven a race car in their lives ask Jeff Gordon tough questions anyway.
Tough questions. Brevity is not their strong suit. I'll tell you, compared to me, these guys are barracuda.
Well, let me just set this up a little bit further. The reason I'm a fan of this show, and I think why you have so many fans of this show, is because your candidness and willingness to put guys on the spot and take the tough questions.
Let's see if he still feels that way after question number 1.
You ever wish you could have Chad Knaus as your crew chief?
Oh, man, that's just below the belt. Chad's an awesome crew chief. I'm not so sure Chad and I could work as well together as Jimmy and he do. Yeah, they have a very special relationship, and it takes a special guy to be able to handle the 4-time champion. I'm not always easy to deal with.
Ooh, okay. Tough question number 2.
Hey, Jeff, you used to thank God in every Winner's Circle interview. You don't anymore. I don't care either way, but what changed?
Well,
wow.
I haven't gone to Victory Lane much lately, so that might be one. No, you know what? I've chosen to do that privately. You know, there was just a time in my life that I was doing it, you know, publicly, and it wasn't me. You know, I still have a lot of faith and you know, really care a lot about my relationship with God, but I just choose not to do it publicly, and some people are going to like that, some people aren't, but that's just what I've decided to do.
Question number 3. My job's easy tonight.
What's the best thing and the worst thing about Junior joining Hendrick?
Well, let's see. I mean, the best thing is that he's hilarious. I mean, this guy is so fun. I had no idea he had that kind of a sense of humor. We have these debriefs, and the things that he comes up with just has us rolling all the time. My favorite right now is that he's working. He said he has perfected his greatness, and now he's working on his awesomeness. and you know what? And I believe he'll do it. But the toughest thing is just, you know, that he's Dale Jr. He's like today, you know, in Talladega. I mean, he's one of the best restrictor plate drivers out there. And we saw earlier in the year where we didn't agree on the racetrack when we were working together. And so, you know, that's probably one of the toughest things, is just to have competitive teammates, especially ones that you know their fans don't like you. and so when you disagree on something on the racetrack, it's going to be known everywhere.
So the worst thing is the obvious.
Yes.
You don't want another good race. I got you. Question number 4.
If your passion level for racing was 100% in 1993, what level is it now?
There is no such thing as 110%. It's only 100%. Now, my passion for it is as much as it's ever been. I will say that my time is spread a lot more thin these days than it ever has been. I've worked harder this year testing than any year I've had in racing, period. You know, I want to give everything I can to the team like they do to me, but the results haven't shown for it. And at the same time, you know, I am spread a lot more thin from sponsor commitments, being a father, and all the testing, all the races, everything, and the business side of it. It spreads me out too thin sometimes, and I would say that can be a distraction.
But that doesn't diminish your
Not my
commitment.
passion. Oh, no, no. I mean, and if you thought my passion wasn't there, then all you have to do is just go listen to me on the radio and just raise hell when we're running 4th or 10th or wherever we are. I want to win. That's the bottom line.
One more quickly.
Hey, Jeff, is Jimmy Johnson a better driver than you?
Jimmy's an awesome driver. I will say that Jimmy, you know, has done an amazing job, and that whole team. I mean, I think that they have what Ray and the 24 DuPont team had in the mid-90s. They just have a way of clicking, of getting the most out of it. You can never count them out. The end of the race comes, and you say, oh, those guys are never going to win, and boom, there they are. So, you know, I'm not going to say that Jimmy's a better driver because I think I'm the best driver out there, just like any other driver.
I knew that's where we were going with that. I knew
those are all good. Those are. I
good?
like your staff. They're not afraid.
They're good people. I guarantee you, though, we'll get emails from people saying, "Oh yeah, you lobbing all those softballs at Gordo. How come you didn't have the stones to ask him?" And then you can fill in any kind of hateful thing they read on the internet. So
that's their job.
We have recruited an independent expert to verify the toughness of our questions and perhaps to ask a tough question of his own. Let's see if we can see.
Remind me to not open my mouth up and
brace yourself. Look who it is. It's the question toughness evaluation expert, 4-time Trans Am champ.
I'm scared to know where this is going.
And reputed Jeff Gordon accomplice, Tommy Kendall. Tommy joins us right after the break. Don't go anywhere.
I'm comfortable with new looks. I'm comfortable with Wrangler.
Wrangler Jeans Company. With new fits and new styles. Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
Welcome back. In honor of Jeff Gordon's appearance tonight, we invited his good friend and friend of the show, Tommy Kendall, to join us. TK, welcome back. Good to hear you. Good to have you too. I wonder if you heard the premise. Do you think we did a good job of asking Jeff tough questions tonight?
I think so, and based on his reaction during break, he's a little nervous with me here.
I am a little nervous. TK and I go way back, and I just wanted to remind him that, you know, I have equally as much on him as he has on me. but we're not competing though. We're not
competition.
No.
Yeah. Let's just leave it at that. TK,
yeah,
what's the best thing you got on Gordon? No, seriously. You have a tough question for Jim. I'm sorry, go ahead.
This one's not a tough question. This is just an interesting one. I'm a huge Jeff Gordon fan. This is something, there's enough water under the bridge, we might actually be able to get him to answer this. How far down the road did you go with BAR towards going to F1, and what happened?
That's a great question, and one that I'm surprised, you know, doesn't get asked more often. Yeah, I sat with Barry Green at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Lowe's Motor Speedway, in a meeting, and also what was oh man, what was Villeneuve's guy? Craig Pollock. Craig Pollock. And we had a long conversation about steps that it would take to get to BAR. And when they were forming it, whether I would ever be able to become a driver. But the problem was that I had to go to the kart series first, prove myself there, go do testing in F1. It was a conversation that at least had enough merit to talk about for a while, but it never went anywhere. And I had just won, I think, my second championship in the Cup Series. And so after all that kind of went around, and I decided, no, you know, this is just too many steps, you know, to get there. I decided not to do it, and then went on and won 2 more championships.
This was before trading paint and all the talk about you going to Formula One.
Oh yeah, this is long before that. You know, I just happened to get a call from Jacques Villeneuve one day, and he's like, hey, we're putting together this team. I'm guessing they wanted an American in the team. And out of the blue, and I was a huge fan of Jacques and listened to him. He made a lot of sense, and he had a lot of conversations with Barry, and so we decided to sit down and talk more about it. It never was enough to materialize.
Good stuff, Tommy. Want to move
great
along?
Stuff, Tommy. Thank
you got another one?
I do. I've got a lot of them. I'd love to ask him, if he's ever driven a black SS with navigation on, but and I would also like to know, I asked Mika Hakkinen a similar question about when that beautiful daughter of yours makes a fresh batch of guacamole in her shorts, does a 4-time Cup champion change it? But really, when I interview someone, it's really about me, so why don't I get invited on the yacht anymore?
Oh, I sold the yacht. Man. Had to get rid of it, but you did miss some good times. You did miss some good times.
Let's go back to
I
the
do change
guacamole.
diapers.
Do you change diapers?
Yes, I do. I do.
I believe that.
You know what though? My wife's got her trained so well. She doesn't go in her pants anymore. She does it on the potty. So, but when they were looking pretty bad, smelling pretty bad, I was in there doing it myself. You'd been proud of me.
I got a minute left, guys. I have a theory that the two most life-changing experiences for any racer are first time he gets busted up good and getting married. And now that Jeff is happily married and changing diapers.
For the second time married. So
well, I wasn't going to go there, but he did.
Time.
I'd love to hear you, Jeff, explain to TK why it's high time he settled down.
Well, he and I have gone through these conversations many a times, and so he's, Tommy's a smart guy. He knows how to learn from his friends very well, but it is time, Tommy. Come on. Yeah, I've been around you with some really nice girls, very much marriage material. You're going to have to just bite the bullet. Go for it.
Tommy?
Commercial time yet? Commercial time. I thought he was on the hot seat.
I got you, man. I got you. And I'm a co-host, so I get the last word. Go to break.
Yeah, you got 15 seconds at best, Kendall.
Well, I'd love to know. Jimmy, you've talked about how great he is. He makes it look so easy.
Oh, he's out of there.
Nice one. Good job, man. Good job.
Pull a plug on TK. You could be in that debate Tuesday night. Thanks, Kendall. It's been fun. Have fun in South Beach, whatever you have planned for the rest of the night. We have plans for him for the next couple of segments. We're going to get some phone calls in here when we come back on the other side with Jeff Gordon, and who knows what else might come up.
It's a place that only NASCAR heroes, champions, and legends dare to stand. Who will be the next to take their place on the championship stage this November 16th at Homestead Miami Speedway? Find out as the season's best drivers make one last run at history in the season finale of the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Celebrate champions, Miami style, at Ford Championship Weekend, November 14th through 16th. For tickets, call 866-409-RACE or visit HomesteadMiamiSpeedway.com.
Familiar paint job, and it will change next year. 24 is getting new duds, the little more black, accenting the flames, which inspired, you said on trackside, the new paint job inspired by a quarter midget that you had way back in the day. Is that accurate?
It is. We changed from the rainbow to the flames, and we were going to make a big change with this one. But the flames are so cool. I just think a race car should have flames. And I had this quarter midget when I was, 8 or 9 years old. That was black with orange and yellow flames, very similar to this. Sam Bass perfected it.
Whoa,
there you go.
There
you go.
Okay, we do our homework.
You guys
on
are
your
good.
show.
You guys are so good.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is. I'm excited about next year having a black car with those flames. That car is hot looking.
Let me just show you how good we are. As we were digging back through the photographs, we found Jeff Gordon in a sprint car. Well, what's the big deal about that? We all know Jeff Gordon came up through sprint cars. I wonder, Jeff, if you can tell me what these two sprint cars have in common and how these two sprint cars connect to Jeff Gordon.
Well, let's see. I know that's Gary Stanton's sprint car in the 40, and then the McBride Chauff. I know those are both at Knoxville. I do know that both those photos are taken at Knoxville.
That's it. You don't recall having been fired from both of those cars.
Oh, I do recall that too.
It's
I
coming
forgot
back
about
to
that
him.
part. The best things that ever happened in my career were getting fired from both of those rides. You know what? I wasn't ready for Stanton in the 40 car. In the he went straight into the World of Outlaw stuff, and I still probably need to do some all-star things. The McBride and Shove car, I really went in it to drive the pavement car, which we won pretty much every pavement race. They put me in their dirt car, and I just think I found out, you know what, I was more cut out for pavement than USAC than I was.
I heard when he threw the seat at you after you wrecked the second car that day and said, "Get out of here, kid, you're never going to amount to anything."
I was costing him a lot of money.
I got Randy from Greenville, Mississippi on the line with Jeff Gordon. Randy, go ahead.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Jeff. Look, man, I'm just a huge Jeff Gordon fan. I really appreciate this, guys. My question is who are some of the developmental drivers coming up through the Hendrick organization? It's been pretty well documented what Joe Gibbs is doing with Joey Logano. And how long is it going to be before you get home to see Ella tonight? You've been at it a good while today. So.
Well, I stopped. Yeah, thank you. I stopped at home and saw her before she went to bed, which made my day. So thanks for bringing that up. Well, you know, Brad Keselowski's been doing an amazing job with Junior Motorsports, which is also teamed up with Hendrick Motorsports, and Landon Castle, who's been our development driver. I don't know where our development driver program stands, to be honest with you. I think that, you know, we've gone back and forth with, you know, do we just, you know, go along with our Cup program and our nationwide program, put our Cup drivers in there, and if a young up-and-coming driver comes along, we just pluck them and pull them over and say, how would you like to drive at Hendrick? I mean, I think there's a couple of different ways to go at it. If the right guy comes along, then I think that it's worth it. And right now, Brad Keselowski's been one of the strongest young talents besides Joey Logano that I've seen in a long time.
These hours go by much too quickly.
They do.
I need a commercial break. We'll come back on the other side with eye candy and a final phone call maybe and final comment or two from Jeff Gordon.
Wednesday. The fans come for the all-out drag racing.
Gotta be a part of it.
And put on a show of their own.
This is it. This is the Mecca. We've been to 3 of these.
I can't wait to do it again. The all-new Pink's All Outtakes. Wednesday, 9:30 Eastern. Only on
Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
The Eye Candy with Jeff Gordon. I want to ask you another Formula One question. Last week's Racer Magazine question of the week, what grade would you give the Singapore Grand Prix first night Formula One race? Right. Answers were from outstanding A+ to complete disaster. It was interesting. I wonder what your reaction
I'd probably
was.
be in the middle, like a B+. I mean, I thought it was spectacular to look at, this amazing track that they built, but the racing wasn't very good. You know, those street courses, they don't, you know, we need Spa and rain with 2 to go.
Yes.
That's what we need in every Formula One race.
Street circuits, I mean, I don't care. They're just awful.
Yeah.
I understand why they're important, but they're just awful.
Yeah.
Last call. We got Mike on the line. There you go. That's how you know it's last call. Mike from Columbia, Missouri. You're on with Jeff Gordon. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Jeff. I'm a huge fan. Dave, big fan of your show, too. Watch it every week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is how I deal with being a Jeff Gordon fan. I go to work, and I get dirty every day, get really dirty a lot of days. And I have these contractors come in, and asked me how Junior did for the weekend because I'm wearing a Junior hat. And I say, well, hell, I don't know how he did because why would I want to get my good Gordon hat dirty? I said, so I don't, I only wear my good stuff out when when I need to. I want to look good. When I don't want to look good, I wear Junior stuff.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That sounds like a prospect.
Hey, Dave, can I get a bobblehead?
Sure, absolutely. That's a good story, Mike, and be sure.
The thing is, we're teammates now. It's all good now,
Okay. So we'll pick somebody else. I got Tony Stewart hat. My old lady's a Tony Stewart fan. I'll wear hers.
Yeah, but I do Stewart's charity event up there in Eldora, and I still think there might need to be somebody else. I don't know.
Okay, you pick him, and then I'll go buy the hat.
Mike, you're my kind
I don't want you to go buy anybody's hat that I don't really like.
No, save your money. Get the die cast of the new paint job. I believe you can get that already, can you not? Is that not already available?
Yeah, we are offering that up.
All right, Mike, hang on. We'll get you hooked up for the bobblehead. Is there any one thing in racing that you still want to do that isn't just like a fantasy? I mean, Formula One, yeah, I'd still like to do that, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
Is there anything in racing that you would still like to do that you might legitimately take a crack at, either while you're still racing or after
besides
retirement?
winning a sprint cup? Because I haven't won one of those. I've won 4 Winston Cups, but not one sprint cup.
Sprint
I'd like
cup
to do
would
that.
Be good.
I'd love to do 24 hours of Le Mans one day.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'd certainly like to win it, but I'd like to just do it. Those cars, are amazing, and maybe I could do something with Chevrolet and the Corvette program. We'll see where it goes. I'm curious to see what's happening with them with GT2 next year.
If you retired as a driver and you had a one-off with somebody other than Chevy, could you do that?
Not right now, or probably not. I'm a Chevy guy, and they've been very good to me, and I doubt whether I'll ever do anything non-Chevy.
Needs to be a Corvette.
But maybe one day. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. As long as they're in racing and keep doing it as well as they're doing it now, why would you want to do anything else?
I want to see Jeff Gordon at Le Mans. I love it when I see Jeff Gordon on this show. Thank you very much,
Dave.
man,
Appreciate
for
it.
making
Thank
the
all
effort.
the fans, too.
Next week, Mike Joy co-host, Red Bull Air Racing pilot Kirby Chambliss, and a whole lot more. We will see you then. Thanks again, Jeff Gordon. So long, everybody.